Bill Cosby once said, in order to succeed, your desire for success should be greater than your fear of failure. This is the startup where we inspire businesses. Welcome back. In this episode of the startup, we meet Arjun Gandhi. Arjun Gandhi is the director of RSL. He started his business without a capital by partnering with his brother. This is his inspiring story. Karibu sana Arjun.
Thank you, Mashar.
Yeah. What is RSL?
Okay, RSL stands for Rent State Limited.
Rent State Limited.
Absolutely.
What is the business all about?
It's an interesting story behind that. My brother and myself had studied in Canada, and when we came back into Kenya, we entered into formal employment.
Wow.
Now, in between, when I was in Canada, I read a couple of books, that inspired me to think like an entrepreneur. And one of the biggest ones that influenced me was Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Absolutely. I know you've read of him, right?
Yes.
Now, basically, when we set up Rent State Limited, we had set it up with the intention of looking at real estate, purchasing properties, through obviously our income earned from jobs, and setting up a residual income stream. Now, as of April 2015, we were actually fortunate to be introduced to Haas Elevators that had expressed an interest to enter into the Kenyan market.
Wow.
Now, my brother and I were very interested, and at the point we decided, rather than going and registering a new company...
With your passion of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely,
yes.
Absolutely. We decided, rather than registering another business, we decided to carry on with the existing business we already had in place. And slowly through time, we've been trying to build it. So that's why a lot of people see our name and they get a little bit misled that they think we're in real estate.
Yes.
But what we do now is we've set up a business in elevator distribution.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
Back to the business now.
Yes.
Why elevator business?
Okay, perfect. When we came back, I mentioned we entered into formal employment, and we were working in the elevator business. Now, I was in charge of customer service and sales, and every time I went in to meet one of the consultants, either the architects or the developers or the engineers, I started noticing a common trend. And there were some challenges that everyone seemed to have that no one in the industry at the time was addressing. Namely, quality of products. How is it that we regulate a product in an industry, especially in Kenya? And my observation has been that there are no accepted standards in Kenya that is the minimum benchmark for us to set our quality standards. So when we met Haas Elevators, the first thing we identified is all their products come in European standards. And that is a quality that is acceptable globally, correct?
Globally, that's true.
So we thought if we can bring in a quality product
to set a benchmark.
Exactly. We'll have an opportunity to address the concern of quality. The next thing that seems to be the stereotypical mindset over here is if I've got good quality, I'm probably going to pay quite the coin for it. And when we spoke to them, the prices are so competitive, they're so phenomenal, and we found a perfect balance between quality and price. So we didn't have to sacrifice one for the other. That was important. The third challenge was the delivery timeframes. Now, the standard delivery in the market is 24 weeks.
24 weeks.
Yes. Now with our supplier, and I talk about this, the goods reaching Mombasa. Now with our supplier, we've actually had the good fortune of being able to deliver within 14 weeks.
What were the investments that you injected when you started the business?
That's a good question. When I was, earlier I was mentioning, obviously when we were talking, that I was fortunate enough, when I graduated, the biggest challenge I had was you have no experience. And fortunately within that time, I found myself a mentor. Someone who guided me throughout. And they told me, Arjun, the biggest challenge entrepreneurs face is the thing to enter into business, you need to have a lot of capital. And he told me, I'm going to tell you something right now that's going to hold a lot of value, and I hope this message also inspires other entrepreneurs. But if you do not have the capital, what you can offer is your services.
Wow.
So when we started, we did not start off with a lot of capital. You know, what we did was service-based. And I'll explain how we've set up our business. Now, in sales, there are three parts. There's pre-sale, there's sales, and then there's the post-sale. So in the pre-sale, what do we do? You're a consultant. I'll come and I'll sit down with you, and I'll ask you, Masharia, you're putting up a building. Tell me, what is the outcome you're looking for? Now, the standard answer is, I just want something to go up and down and take the percentages. But we go a step further. We try and qualify you. How many floors are you going to? What sort of capacities are you looking for? So ultimately what we're trying to do is, we're trying to approach the pre-sale with giving you the information. Because I was always told, if you have the correct information, you can always make an informed decision.
That's true.
And that is ultimately what we're trying to do.
Arjun, do you face any challenges in the business as an entrepreneur?
The life of an entrepreneur, where do I start, Masharia? There's so many ups and downs.
Specifically for RSL.
Absolutely. You know, there's so many ups and downs. In the sense, if we go back, one of the things I said is, if you don't have a lot of capital, you must provide a service. And we've been dealing with a lot of consultants and all. And the biggest challenge we found till now, guys say, you know, we like what you're doing, we respect you, we see where you're going with this. But at this point in time, what do you have on the ground? And, you know, the biggest challenge is having the already established companies or individuals take a chance on you. You know, they'll be like, we've already heard of this established company, we've worked with them. Yes, we've had a few challenges here and there, but we're more comfortable in that. So when you guys have something on the ground, you know, we can then talk from there. Fortunately for us, we found a couple of individuals who have given us that opportunity.
Wow.
So we've managed to get 4 contracts so far, touch wood, and you know, by His grace. And we're very fortunate because we're having our first units installed by mid-January. So January 2016, we expect to have our first units on the ground where you'll be able to see the quality of the ride, you know, the quality of the product. And we've also spoken to a lot of our engineer consultants who we've invited them to come and take a look at the quality of the installation. So it's very much making them aware. As I said, it's about providing the information. That has been one challenge. The other challenge is when you go into entrepreneurship, as I mentioned, without the capital, you always ask yourself, am I making the right decision? You know, and sometimes you're up when things are going your way or when you get some sort of direction that's leading in the positive sense. And then sometimes, you know, you go through multiple rejections and it's really a deflator. But one of the things I've found is when you attach your why am I doing this, to a goal, to an outcome? As I mentioned to you, ours is lifestyle, ours is freedom of time. You know, it's the ability to create, it's the ability to execute your ideas. These help make it more bearable going through. But there are a lot of challenges, especially emotionally.
For quite some time, you were employed, then you started now your own business.
Absolutely.
Have you learned any lessons that you can share?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, one of the lessons you learn is there's nothing like failure. I'll explain what I mean. See, when we were working before, when you thought I've failed, it means that I've not achieved. But one of the things we're finding with entrepreneurship is when we fail or when we do not achieve, we don't look at it as failure that it's time for us to give up. We look at it as another lesson learned on how not to do something. Failure, it's a lesson learned on, you know, looking at things from a different perspective. And then another thing that we've done through our journey is, through the challenges we've experienced, you know, we believe with the next generation, we want to try and give them what my mentor had given us, what Akash's mentor had given him, the ability to think from a different perspective. So one of the things we're trying to do, you know, I've talked a lot about the business, yes, but I want to tell you a little bit of a social aspect we're trying to put into the business, a way to give back. A lot of our team we're developing are not from seasoned veterans and so on. We're actually taking qualified engineers, you know, from university. Our supplier has offered us a phenomenal program where our engineers go there, they get trained by the factory on the specifics of the product. We bring them in. They work on our product, so they're very qualified on the product sales. You know, and this is a way of giving back in terms of getting on-the-job training. The second thing we're doing is we're encouraging them to be entrepreneurs and leaders. What do I mean by this? As leaders, we're teaching them the whole business. Excuse me, not just on the technical side that you're an engineer, that's all you're going to do. We're teaching them on the business organization, on the customer relations. As an engineer, what is your responsibility to the clients? What are you supposed to do? And then another thing we try and encourage a lot of is personal development. Personally, I found reading books does wonders. And so we recommend books that we think would resonate with them, that they'd be able to take some sort of information and grow themselves. And also, as they grow, we bring in a fresh batch that they are now going to train.
Arjun, as a parting shot, what can you advise other entrepreneurs outside there watching the startup right now?
Entrepreneurship is worth it if you attach it to a goal. When they say you attach it to a certain outcome, it's always going to be ups and downs when you don't achieve that outcome. But when you understand what you're working for, and obviously when I say this, I talk about it in terms of what is your why? Why are you doing it? Now, Akash and myself, we're doing it because of our creativity. We're doing it because of our ambition, and mostly for the flexibility of time, so that we can also enjoy our life. We can do things that we're passionate about. So attach it to a why, a goal, a meaningful goal that is important to you, that will not detract you from when the ups and downs come. The second thing is, never look at failure as an end. Look at it as a lesson or a stepping stone to get to where you want to go. And I think more important than that is find people who are of the same mindset. So they say you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And I think if you surround yourself with 5 people who have got ambitions, who've got a certain way of thinking, you are going to have the 5 qualities. And I think your network ultimately influences your network.
2 years from now, 3 years from now, where will I see RSL?
We hope to be a brand to be reckoned with. Our growth plan, we've got a 5-year business plan. And as we said, attaching it to a goal, so we've got a 5-year plan. We've been in operation 6 months. In the next year, we plan to be a name that is known to the consultants who provide quality service. We also want to expand into the East African market because we believe our services can be used across the borders. And as we build our local team of engineers and consultants, and as we train them in, what we're looking to do is train them in a culture. So we're looking to have a workforce, an organization that is focused on the client's needs, that provides quality service, quality products, and ultimately we want to take it from there. So we want to be a brand that is known for quality and a brand that is known for delivery and communication. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Masharia.
It's a pleasure talking to you.
The pleasure is mine.
I've really learned a lot today.
Thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure talking to you as well.
Yeah. When opportunity meets preparedness, you are guaranteed for a success. That is the key take that we take from the story of Arjun Gandhi. After the break, how they were started, where we are focusing on how Twitter as a company was started. Then later on, we'll be joined by a startups expert.